Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Empowerment 101 podcast, a part of Hardy Girls Healthy Women's 2021 spring conferences. Hope you enjoy. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Empowerment 101 with Ruby Green
and Ruby Martin.
Today, we're going to be having a very important discussion on how to be unapologetic as a woman.
And not feeling guilty about being angry.
Yes. So, first things first, what does it mean to be unapologetic? It means to not feel bad when you're sharing who you are, what you really think, or how you feel.
That's right. And this is a very important term to know in case and this is going to be important for this discussion that we're going to have, just because we're talking about how to be unapologetic as a woman, because it is a very important skill that you need to have.
Yes. So, why do we feel like we always need to be apologetic or quiet or not share what we're really thinking?
I mean, I think that we feel like we need to be apologetic because that's the society that we grew up in. I mean, I feel like ever since I was little, I was taught like, oh, you need to be understanding. You need to you need to put your feelings aside for other people because it's not their fault. And I feel like learning how to express my true feelings was really important. But it's definitely brought in the society that we're brought up in that you need to be apologetic and quiet about how you're feeling because it might hurt other people.
Yes. I mean, I grew up in a household, my mother is a Scorpio. So yes. I was always taught to share how I felt, loudly and unapologetically, but I'm also a people-pleasing Virgo. So, and I was also raised in the society where even though it didn't match the way that I was growing up in my own household, I was taught that, sharing my feelings was a bad thing. If I was angry, I shouldn't be talking about it. If I was upset, then it isn't anybody else's problem but my own. So why would I tell anybody else?
Yes, I definitely feel that. I mean, I'm a Sagittarius myself, and so I constantly feel the need to share my opinions. And I'm also a Pisces. I have a Pisces moon, so I am incredibly emotional all the time. It's a curse and a blessing at the same time. So, at my house at least, I always was very open about how I was feeling, and my family was really accepting and really okay with that. But it seemed like once I got to school or the real world, anytime that I was trying to share how I was feeling, it was too much because I was an emotional woman and I needed to learn how to control those emotions.
Yes.
Which is not true.
Yes.
It's okay to feel your feelings, and you need to learn how to feel those feelings and share them with other people so you can help communicate. That's just a part of human life.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole other thing too, is because we're women, we're taught that if we share our emotions, we're being hysterical or overreacting or blowing things out of proportion because it's just our hormones. When is it? Your time of the month?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I hate it. I hate that.
Yeah. And okay, yes. I have huge hormone flexes just like every other woman before my period. I get so emotional. I will have a full-on meltdown every night on the 20th, and I'll be like, why is this happening to me? But that is for me and me alone to talk about. That is my own experience. That is and that's the thing. I've always felt I had to deny that too. Because, kind of like what we talked about in our last episode, which is like if I like get emotional around my period, it's like somehow I'm conforming to like this
Yep.
idea of a woman. But it's not. It's just like, it's a thing. Like some of these are stereotypes because they're true.
Yep.
Um but like no, I always felt like I was conforming or something. But but yeah. So we're always taught to like try to like repress those and put those down because if we share those then we're like hysterical and emotional and hormonal. But like when men do that, that's never what's said about them. They're justified. They are like people make excuses for them. People are like, well, he has a right to be angry because this is what's happening to him.
Yep. Yeah, and that's so much. I mean, we all feel those period hormone problems. I know myself every time when I'm on my period. I walk into a room that my dog's in. I literally start crying, and I'm like, my dog's gonna die one day. And I'm just like in there crying, and my mom's just like, what? And you know what? Even though those are hormone fluxes, like they're all okay to feel your emotions. And being unapologetic as a woman isn't just about like being brassy or loud or whatever. It's that's like the most common misconceptions. It's like about cultivating zero shame and embodying who you are like
Yes.
as a person. And we've reached this place where like we no longer assess our value or our meaning through somebody else's eyes, and like instead as feminists we're starting to look at ourselves in a way that we don't need others' approval for our emotions. We justify them ourselves because our feelings are right. They're your feelings, like, and you don't have to have that justified by anybody.
Yes. Yes. So I think that's a great transition into our experiences as attempting to be or being unapologetic women.
Yes, and so many. There's so many.
Yeah.
But I mean, one that stands out for me personally was I kind of was at school and I was feeling I was working on a project with this other girl, and I'm the type of person that when I get frustrated with something, I need to like stand up, walk around, and like think about it. And so I stood up, and we had a sub, and he was very he didn't like it when I stood up, and he was like, "You're disrupting the whole class! Like, stop it!" And so I sat back down, and like this guy who was across the table from me was being so annoying and it just kind of bothering me, and I got really frustrated and angry, and I said, can you please stop bothering me? I'm really trying to work on this project. It's really important. It's worth a big part of our grade, and I need to focus. And the teacher came up to me and said, you don't know what he's dealing with. You need to be apologetic towards him, and you need to control your emotions.
Gross.
And I flipped out. I obviously respect your teachers. Don't yell at your teachers.
Yeah, that's important.
But I stood up and I said to him, I said, no, I don't need to control my emotions because somebody else is distracting me, because I need to get this done. And you may think that I'm overreacting right now, but I'm actually not, because I care about school and I care about my grades. And then I got up and left and went to the guidance counselor's office and I told him what happened, and my guidance counselor's the best. But it was kind of this big moment for me where I was in high school and I still felt like I constantly was needing to like conform to this idea of like hiding my emotions and being over emotional, and that really isn't the case. I finally stood up for myself, and I felt so proud of me, and
you should.
And even though I stood up to a teacher and I got a little bit of a talking to, I still was proud of me, and And it's so important to do that. It's so important to stand up for yourself and take care of yourself. And your anger, it doesn't mean you're spreading hate. It just means that you value your own emotions and yourself enough to stand up and tell other people why, like, you can extend yourself and take care of yourself and show your feelings to others, towards others. Yeah.
Yes. And like you weren't putting anything on like that guy who was annoying you in class. Like you were like being yourself and doing your thing, and he wouldn't leave you alone, and you expressing that to him was not you like projecting onto him. It wasn't you like attacking him. It wasn't
No.
you like being any like it wasn't you abusing him. It wasn't anything. It was you expressing and respecting yourself.
That's right. And that's just, yeah, literally. And that moment is burned in my brain from freshman year, and I cannot get it out of my head because it was so crazy. Because sometimes, even as a feminist, like, I'm fighting for equality every day, and sometimes I even forget. I assume the best of people, and sometimes I forget about that. Like, that people can be like that, and seeing that in class, I kind of was taken aback, and it really, you just kind of, but like, kind of realizing that some people are going to be like that, and kind of learning how to fight back against it too, and always have it, and it, I feel like now I always have to have my guard up, but you know, I need to learn like that it's not me having my guard up, it's just me wanting to share the way I'm feeling with others, because when you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to share your emotions, because you're just trying to make things better for you. And it's okay to, if that sounds selfish, it's okay, because it's okay to be a little bit selfish sometimes, because for your well-being, it's okay.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you have any experiences?
Oh,
like
so
that?
many. So I also have a story about an annoying teenage boy in my class. I have so many. But this one in particular, so I had this teacher, and we would have like debates all the time because we had very differing views on a lot of things. And so like we were having this debate, and it was something that I felt like really strongly about. Like we were having a debate about like one of my biggest issues. Like something that is the closest to my heart. But so we were like having this conversation, and it wasn't even getting like that aggressive. You know? Like it wasn't even like escalating that much. But this one guy like leaned over to his friend. It was just like, "What? Is she on her like period or something?" And I heard him. He said it loud enough so that I would be able to hear, like on purpose. And I was so mad. And I had to take a second. So I like sat there, and I was like in the middle of a sentence too when he like said that. And so I like turned around, and I told him, "Yes, in fact, I am. I was not."
Yes! That is a boss move right there.
And his face turned bright red, because like nothing scares a teenage boy more than the idea of a woman bleeding.
Yep.
And his face turned like bright red, and I was just like, "I am. Yep. In fact, I'm gonna go change my tampon right now."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I get back, I'm gonna finish making my point.
Yeah. I am so happy that you did that. That is such a boss move.
Yeah.
And that comment about, oh, is she on her period or something? Is she PMSing? I have heard that so many times from guys, and it annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Every time I'm just like, oh, stop it. And you know, like, that is, as a sister, of a little brother, that is one of the main things that I told him. You never say this. Do not, never.
Yeah.
And now he himself is growing up to be a feminist, and I could not be more proud of him. And like, hearing how he stands up for other girls at school, and he stands up for their feelings too, and like, it's kind of just being able to share my experience with him makes me so proud that he can stand up against those things too.
Yes.
So, jeez, that's insane, dude.
I know.
You're great. That's so empowering. And, like, just, this is why we're having these discussions, because hearing other experiences like that, it empowers even me. Like, I'm empowered by that. I'm like, yes, girl, you say that to that man, because, oh, God, I love this.
Yeah. And the funniest part of all of those, like, is she on her period jokes, or, like, what is it, your time of the month, like, whatever, is that, like, all of these people, like, if you genuinely talk about, like, menstruation near them, they're like, oh, it's so gross. What are you doing? Why are you talking about that? Like, that's disgusting. Like, okay, also there are other resources at Hardy Girls, Healthy Women, and in the conferences, kind of around that subject, and you should be looking out for that. There's a whole round of sister talks.
Definitely. I will also be tuning in, because I need to learn some stuff too. I'm still not there.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, after growing up in this society, like, we are still living in that society. Like, all of the stuff, like, on my phone, like, in social media, in, like, the media, all of those women are shown as being complacent.
Mm-hmm.
They're all quiet. They are all, like, not sharing their feelings. They aren't talking about what's really going on. Because that's, like, the ideal woman, you know?
Someone who doesn't talk back.
Yes. Because otherwise they're sassy.
Yep.
And if they aren't being...
Or they're divas.
Yes, and if they aren't being, like, put down for it, it's their whole personality. It's, like, their whole personality is that they're just sassy.
I've been called sassy so many times, and you know what? I do theater, and I always got cast as the sassy character, and you know what I always said? I always said that the sassy character has the most fun, because, and that's the truth. I don't want to be some boring, basic girl who's just walking around and going, oh, I love you, and he's going, I love her too, because, and she's like, she never says anything. She just kind of just, like, goes along, but I want to be that girl that stands up and, like you did, and say, yeah, I'm on my period, and I'm going to go do that. And, like, just kind of, like, standing up and being empowered by my feelings, and not letting people think that my negative emotions are because I'm a woman, and because I was made this way, because women are supposed to be emotional. Yeah. No. This is my feelings, and it's how I'm feeling. And and anger does not have to be a negative emotion. It really does not. Like, you're being real with yourself about your anger, and, like, when you're upset or frustrated, it doesn't make you a monster. Feeling those feelings is part of being human, and it's okay. It's so okay. And, like, yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, I was talking to my mom about this, and the podcast that we're doing and the episode we're doing today, and I was just like, oh, and I'm so excited to be able to film this and, like, be able to talk about these things because it's such an important issue. And she was just like, no, totally. Like, I, as a mother in the pandemic, like, have had all of these extra things. Like, my little brother is being homeschooled, and guess who's in charge of that?
Yeah.
My mom. Like, who does the grocery shopping? My mom. Who does, like, an 11-hour workday? My mom. Like, while doing all of these other things. And then at the end of the day, like, I'll make dinner sometimes, but, like, she also she also makes dinner and like makes sure that everybody gets lunch, like, and all of that. Because she's like the woman of the house. So those are her responsibilities. Um, and she was talking and she was like, I feel like I can't express that even to you guys. Otherwise, I'm like putting my frustration, not even about the things that I'm doing for you, but just the things that I'm doing in life. And I feel like I can't express those because otherwise I'm making you feel bad. I'm like putting all of those on you guys. And I was listening to her talk about it, and like these are all responsibilities, obviously not in the circumstances we're in right now, but like all of these responsibilities are ones that like if we choose to have children, like those are the responsibilities we're gonna have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was talking to my mom about it on the car ride here and to my house, and I kind of was, and she said almost the same thing. She was like, I feel like I can't share my frustrations always because, like, I don't want to put my anger that I have just in, or my frustrations onto you because it's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
They're my feelings, and I sometimes feel very guilty for having them because I'm just doing the things as a mother that I'm supposed to do, and I felt so bad. I was like, well, she's my mom, and she's brought me up in this amazing world and taught me the things that and is part of the main reason I am who I am. She brought me to my first Women's March. She like taught me so much about like living as a feminist and standing up for others and not taking other people's crap. And I and just to know that she feels like she cannot share how she's feeling with me because she doesn't want me, or she feels bad about the way she's feeling because they feel like just her responsibilities.
Yeah.
And without her, I would not eat lunch. I would not get through half the day.
Yeah.
And I want her to be able to share those feelings with me because like they're normal emotions, and I feel so bad sometimes.
Yeah. These are valid emotions. This is not you being sassy or aggressive or hysterical. This is you expressing yourself, asserting yourself, and respecting yourself.
Definitely. And yeah, it's so important to do that.
Yeah.
So important. So if you're going to take one thing from this podcast, make sure that you take that it is okay to feel your feelings.
Yes.
And it's okay to let other people know how you are feeling.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you take away, let it be that. Because that is so important.
What is that? Isn't there like a song that goes like, feel your feelings, fool? Isn't that a song?
I think so. Well, I think that is almost it.
Yes.
But we still have one final question, like we do at the end of all of our episodes.
Yes.
If you watched them all, if you haven't, go back, watch the other two.
Yes.
They're awesome.
We're awesome, so they're awesome.
Exactly. So the final question is, how can I fit this new information into my everyday life? Do you want to start off?
Totally.
Okay.
I think really when you're in a situation where you feel like overwhelmed or upset or like you're being disrespected for having any of those feelings, then like really, you know, like I've said in the past 2 podcasts, is assert yourself. Like make that space, make your point. Tell how you're feeling. Be unapologetic about it. Like,
there you go.
It's not a bad thing. Do it. Say what you're feeling. Say what you're thinking. Be yourself. Don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that don't feel bad about it piece, too, that's going to take some time. I feel that. I don't know if you guys have seen those things on TikTok of those compilations of people like me when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, thinking of all of the things that I like messed up, and then like it's like the people like cringing at themselves in their head, and I do that on the daily. But not feeling not feeling bad about your feelings is so important. And like Ruby said, like just kind of not, yeah, just like asserting yourself. And I know it's hard. It's definitely hard, especially if you're shy. And that is completely understandable. I know I have a really big personality, and
Yeah,
you do as well.
I also have a big personality.
Yeah, but like being able, even in the smallest way, like if you're in a group project at school and people aren't pulling their weight like they should be, just saying a quick little, hey, do you think you could help me out with this? I feel like if we work together, it can be better, or something like that. Like, and just kind of like, oh, I'm kind of feeling like I'm doing a lot of the work, and I really need some help. I'm getting really frustrated, and I just feel like if we work together, it could be better. Just something as simple as that, like just being able to share your feelings with others, and it doesn't have to be in an aggressive way. It really doesn't. That's real. Like I said, one of the common misconceptions about being unapologetic, and you can just share that you're feeling a little bit frustrated, and that you need some help, because like even saying that can go miles, especially if people are feeling like, especially if people are kind and willing to help you out. So, just being unapologetically you, and kind of start thinking about anger and like letting your emotions out in a new light, because it doesn't have to be bad, and it doesn't have to be negative. So, yeah, just take it one step at a time if you're just starting to do it, and if you're not, maybe you could try, if you're being disrespected, maybe try what Ruby Green did. It was a boss-ass move.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been our third and final episode of Empowerment 101.
Yes, we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you had a good time.
Yes.
And make sure you check out some of the other workshops that are going on at HardyGirlsHealthyWoman.com.
Yes, they're going to be amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yes. Well, we really hope you enjoyed it. This has been Empowerment 101 with Ruby Martin and
Ruby Green.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.